The only rival I have is the person I was yesterday. Last year, I was different. I've grown, I've learned, I've improved, and that's what truly matters. It's me versus me. Every day, I wake up ready to push myself further. I challenge my limits, striving to be the best version of myself. I know where I've come from, and I know where I'm going, so I keep pushing forward, not to be better than anyone else, but to be better than I was.
If there's one thing I know, that's the fact that I don't know everything. However, I will try to learn as much as I can in the pursuit of the best of me. Hello, my name is Samora Mangesi. Welcome to The Best of Me, a brand new platform, movement that's just all about promoting self-love and self-respect through reevaluating our relationships with the vices that keep us in a chokehold, that keep us stagnant. Things like alcohol, drugs, gambling, interpersonal relationships. Ndiyathemba ukubana ke noko uzayisharisha le episode lena. Also, be sure to subscribe as well. So today, I've decided for episode 1 that instead of telling my story from my perspective, that I should invite people who are very close to my heart, people who have seen the journey, and people who are still here for it. In terms of me coming from a very broken place to being extremely empowered in who I am currently, coming from being number one patia, dancing on tables, to sobriety. And I really do appreciate the fact that you guys are here. We're going to have a conversation about maintaining friendships through sobriety and just keeping those relationships going. I'm joined by Mxolisi as well as Lwando. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Sure, thanks for having us.
First of all, I want to ask you, gents, what's your poison? Got a cooler box right here.
What do you have? As long as it's not those drinks, I'm not about that life.
I've got non-alcoholic cider and I've got non-alcoholic beer.
None of those.
None of those.
No, honestly, none of those.
Okay.
I'll have a cider.
You'll have a cider.
I'll have a cider.
I'll get that for you.
Let's try this. Let's try this thing of his. Look
There
at
you
that.
go.
Okay.
So, you know, a lot of the time when someone asks you the question, what's your poison? We generally go to the thought, they're asking us about what it is that you drink. Yichike, abasibhadelanga. Chike. Yichike. Chike.
Hayi kaloku siyacenga. Sicengile apha bazawusibhatala.
So a lot of the time when, you know, someone asks you the question about what's your poison, the first thing we think of is what it is that you drink. However, I also want to pose the question again and pose it from the perspective of what is it that you're currently struggling with? What is currently eating you up from the inside?
Yeah. I'd have to say imposter syndrome, eh?
Uh-huh.
It is going in so hard and so heavy. Much that you don't actually see the effects of it because it's a ripple effect. It starts off from your career all the way to your dating life, to your private life, to even how you see relationships.
Yes.
With your parents, with your friends, and everybody else. And ndibona lendo when I had to become a person who relies on validation, external validation, to say, friend, do I look okay?
Yeah.
Friend, do I look okay? That constant reminder that says, but I need somebody to tell me that I look okay. I need somebody to tell me that, no, you did okay.
Yes.
You presented well, and all of that. And that on its own limits self-esteem yomtu. Much that you rely on certain things to boost the esteem yako. And you don't even see the effects of all of that. So for me, personally, truly has to be imposter syndrome. It is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lwando?
It's managing relationships. I mean, you touched on it. But managing relationships from family, friends, emsebenzini.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I'm in a space where I'm finding it very challenging. Just being in a stable space where I feel like all my relationships are fine. Yeah, I think just in a nutshell, I'll leave it at that.
And maintaining relationships is a very big one. I think we've touched on it in both your answers, you know, because we do need interpersonal relationships in our lives, you know, part of community, being a part of something bigger than yourself, and how you fit in and how you show up and all of those things. And I think that is also a very big part of the conversation that I want us to have here today, you know. Of course, you guys have been here for the ride. You've been here for the journey. It's only been a couple of months of sobriety for me. And it's been very enlightening, very different. It's not the first time that I've taken a break.
It's not.
Those times. However, there was one thing you always say about me not drinking.
It's the level of focus, I have to say. No, I think I've gotten exposed to all different sides of you.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole slap to... No, I have to tell the story. Samora, guys, when he's hyped up and peaked up and not sober. I can promise you that. I did Samora. And I had to think, I was like, you know what, if I retaliate up, number one was on better Bambane. Number two, it's just gonna get ugly. But that was not the goal. The goal was to get him to calm down a bit. But I think the one thing that I truly appreciate about Samora when he's sober, level of focus. He will always say, I want to do a certain project, and he sees it through. I remember when, I think it was 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, before you got to Kumblekaya.
Yes.
Before you got, what was that TV show that you were on with Lusana Mbane?
Oh, that was radio.
No. The actual TV show when you were playing a journalist.
1802.
1802. Before he got all of those, he said, I actually want to do TV. Like, I want to do actual TV. I want to act. I want to do all of that. And he always goes on this sober streak or this focused, peaked me, whatever business, when he's chasing a certain goal. And all of those came to fruition. And even more, for that matter, I saw him doing a number of about 5 projects at a time, when I know for a fact that when he is not sober, he is not even able to manage at least 2 projects. You find certain, elements of inconsistent here and there, and you constantly have to be Samora, But the one thing that I've also gotten to, it's a weird place to be in. You've sort of somehow became the parent of the people.
District.
And it's the most Ungusisiping I'm understanding, and it's a new terrain altogether. But it's much appreciated because we get to see in a different light that Ungumtu, who's actually just like all of us, but in the better sense, when you are strict, it all raises us to actually be more aware of our surroundings, who we are, what we do. Because the one thing that I always say is we are all mutually liable as friends of how we treat each other, of how we relate to each other, and the kind of information, if I can say it so, that we put out there about each other. Because each and every one of us has got something to lose. And that's the one thing we all take for granted.
Yeah.
But the fact that we are all now parents in the group, dynamics are somewhat changing, but for the better.
Yeah.
And that also says that we are relating now in a different light altogether, and we are able to then keep each other accountable. Because if we're not accountable to each other, then it's going to be a different dynamic altogether, and we're not going to be able to project the things that we want to project out there. Because trust and believe you me, it takes just one stupid picture, one stupid video for either one of us to get fired from wherever we are. And we're all working for public institutions, if I can put it that way. But yeah, for me, that's the focus, the level of focus when you're sober. I truly, truly love it.
I think it's really interesting that you touch on that, because recently one of the thoughts that I had was, is this how you want to be known? I remember, I think it was a week ago, when we were all planning to get together, and we were on a video call, and I think you were in KZN at the time, and the rest of our friends were like, I asked now Malia Petrol.
Don't remind me of that.
So
this thing is not strong enough.
So then I say, I need dinner. Kungabinas Malisa Petrol, And I mean, as much as it was a joke, but is that how you want to be known? Is that how you want to show up in the world? And I think it's one of the questions that I then asked myself, before I decided to stop drinking. It was just like, is this how you want to be known? Is this how you want people to speak about you, And I think I decided to make that change at that time. Lwando, I was with you when I decided that I was going to stop drinking. We were in the Northwest.
Oh.
Yes. If you remember, that was my last weekend.
Oh, yes.
We were having the time of our lives. We were on holiday. And I think in the height of it all, I decided, Nobana, actually, this is not it. It's not for me. For you, what would you say is probably the biggest culture shock or difference in our friendship, and in maintaining it? Me having now been sober for a couple of months and
I think when we're out and about, you are difficult to socialize.
He is grumpy.
Look, it's on a threshold. The other is like 3 minutes, and you decide, I'm done. I think I'm gonna leave. So that's been difficult. To navigate. And it's not to say umdo or different, because I mean we hang out during the week. We have lunches and stuff like that, and we are usually sober on those, and we do have these empowering conversations. But see, ube principal. I think I'm gonna go and bang on bar. I was up worried, just got here.
Yes, but manager Jantin. We always say, "Oh no, friend, leave your car. Leave your car. Let's take either mine. Let's take Lunga's. Let's take whoever's, and then we go to a very far place, and we know that he's the one driving because he's the principal.
4:30 in the morning. I'm driving from Pretoria back home in the south,
and you don't have a choice. Why? Because you love us.
I do. But I think, you know what? More than anything, it's also a conscious choice and a conscious decision, because at the end of the day, I cannot expect, as your sober friend, that you're constantly going to meet me where I'm at. It's not always going to be, let's go to a gallery. Let's go to a museum. I do need to meet you where you are as well, because the basis of our friendships are not... And I think that's the beauty of it. It was never about the alcohol itself. It was never about the groove itself. True. There are aligning values. There's a belief in you and the goals and dreams that you have. And I want to see those things really come to fruition. So in that, I need to sometimes inconvenience myself to maintain the friendship.
Okay.
So it's not always that I want to be out and about and in this tum-tum. But I also cannot remove myself completely because I want to maintain the relationships. And what I appreciate is the fact that you guys also meet me halfway. We'll do the lunches. We'll do the sit-ins at the house, and we'll watch Omakoto Married at First Sight,
But I think when I say the one thing that you mostly touched on right now, is showing up. You actually show up more now than you used to, and it somewhat plants a different seed in one's mind to say, "But I need to work harder to maintain the relationship," because njeba benchilo, we are all mutually liable. But the best part of it is, this relationship, I have to say, has kept me afloat. Aside of myself, when I was self-sabotaging, when I was doing all sorts of things. I mean, you know me.
Yeah.
you know me. But the relationship has kept me going.
Yeah.
And njembo sicho asiti benango jwala. I mean, it's just a thing that we all do. I mean, well, not anymore, some of us. But keeping each other afloat, that's the one thing. And the showing up, honestly speaking, has kept me from things that would have probably ended me, and you were not even aware of it. So it's being a friend, I think, in this specific circle has less to do with alcohol, but more to do with how we relate to each other. And honestly speaking, the showing up, some more of us got it. I just want to be depressed in peace, and I just want to take it in yonke lento uzawufika ngala energy yakhe, and somehow he knows when into ingekho right. I think maybe from the core or from wherever, but uzawufika aveska ku force out of that space, and you find yourself even excelling. And this is not just you, but it's all of us in how, we relate differently. But yeah, for me, the showing up, truly love it.
I mean, you mentioned it, Kaleni, that you've done it before, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like, for me, as you were speaking, it's almost like a meditation, but also those are about religious, it's fasting.
Yes.
Fasting for a certain goal that you have. And I've seen it many times also to okay. And you actually, every time when I am sober, I manage to achieve izinto, and then you became deliberate about it.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, soon after that trip, now he's been sober for a while.
Yes.
And I mean, it's been months as well. And there's a certain influence in Ayo, because napindly, well, he hasn't declared it, but naye uba nazo zinto to say ngizawusela ngo second week of December.
And the thing about it, Lwando, is that I don't want people to think or whatever. I like to call this a sober curious platform, because ultimately, if you have ever woken up, if you've ever woken up scared to check your bank balance, if you've ever woken up under a ceiling that you do not recognize, and you turn and you're like, I am not familiar with this. No.
The prophet.
maybe it is time to just reevaluate your relationship with it, because you might need to start putting in place certain things that say, maybe denza cool. Man can and see how that affects my life. Excuse me. How does that affect my finances? How does that affect my interpersonal relationships and stuff like that? So I think that is really great, because it doesn't need to be a lifelong commitment. However, in those times that you do, what is it that you see? What is the difference? What are the benefits that you see? And when you do, how can you then incorporate those things into your life?
It's interesting you would say that, but how do you see positive change sober when if you stop and say, okay, I'm not familiar with what's happening around me, and let me maybe in totisa for a moment, or whatever the decision is, how long you want to take a break for. Whereas Abanyamandu could see it as a justification to say, let me go deeper, and then no, stress.
Yep.
And you go deeper and deeper and deeper. So I just thought it's interesting that you would say that, because I'm aware currently a lot of people are going through difficult situations, losing jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, the economy is very tight, and you would see people self-sabotaging their sale.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, uzawukhala nini umsebenzi if ulwesibini at 1 o'clock. Yeah, outside a certain establishment.
Yes.
So very interesting view.
And it's so weird, because yazi kuyo yonke into imali yotywala yavela. Imali yotywala ihlala ikhona. You might not have money for other things, but you will always yeah.
Even bread.
Savana izawuba khona.
Ihlala ikhona. And you will lament about how much you don't have money. I don't have money for ABCD. I don't have money for this. I don't have food. But somehow you will find le ndoga. And I don't know if mhlambi Is that a thing? Because you don't have money, you have to find it somewhere, and generally you will ask someone to help you out. Is it a thing, we would go under false pretenses to these people for them to give us money? Or is it a matter of, and it's something that I've experienced, where when you're trying to better yourself, when you're saying to go to this interview, that it's difficult for people to give it to you, and certain friends that, people that we would call friends, to give it to you versus our city, 150, yes, expect.
I was talking to Ulunga, I think 2 days ago. I'm looking at a specific shirt that I want to buy.
Yes.
And I'm complaining about this.
The price
of this. I'm like, no, man. Why does it? And he responded, Wati, but kawfuna uthenga ibhotile. You never complain this much. And this shirt is not even.
Yeah.
And I said for a moment. I can't hear. And I said for a moment, honestly, and I said, Yazi, the relationship that we have, because there's always that saying that says, wherever your heart is, your money goes there.
Yes.
And unfortunately, priorities is a shifter. And we are not even cognizant of the fact that the priorities have shifted. Because instead of sending your mom that odd 2,000 rands during the month, mzali type of a thing. No, you will send it there. Because why? Every week you need to have a something. You understand? And that's the one element, a shiftayo, on a daily basis for that matter. But it all comes into a 360 when, for instance, you now, sisebenza kwezindawo sisebenza kuzo. And some of us have to be somewhat always on.
Yes.
And ngoku unxilile. Kungena phone call. Mxolisi, we need 1, 2, 7, and 8. And you're not even able to comprehend le task incinci kuthiwa mawuyenze. You understand?
Iyanyibilika wholesome epanini.
Ngapha, listen here. Don't even get to me.
Feel me in intoni wholesome epanini. It's clearly not a wholesome.
Listen, tough times. But ilaphi wholesome mfondini, and it wants results.
Yes.
And you can't just. So Ilando, I took a personal decision to say, but limit.
Yeah.
And go in ibambe man, but limit. Because also you don't want a perception a creator, specifically we workplace to say, but you are unreliable. Why? Because wena kaloku every time sikufonela ilesbi yakho sana lam ulwimi luyashelela type of a thing. So you don't want that kind of a relationship, especially with your colleagues, with your partners, with your boss. You need to always be on, you need to be always but into benzamo highlight kokuba la relationship sinayo ne alcohol, whether we care to admit or not, individually it's gotten to a place where it's actually compromised us because I prioritize.
Yep.
And the other element is I think you just touched on it. But you are talking to friends about candy financing, candy bolek maletil. Let's say a week kwezochomi. You go to speak machonis. And it's unfortunate. You max out your credit cards, you do all sorts of things. All because you want a fix. It's addiction. You want a fix because at that point and moment in time, the only thing that can relieve you of a stress ukuso of is just a glass of. And at that moment in time, trust and believe you me, njemba imali yombane ungaxolela uba kwakho kungabikho lights,
we justify romanticism.
Okay, but alcohol yona,
sure,
you will break your back, you will break your bones, and you will find it.
Yeah,
that's a toxic culture, and the unfortunate part is that it's getting into youth esikuyo ngoku, and fun politic, I'm so sorry, but it's getting into ingcambu youth esikuyo ngoku. Alcohol culture is pop culture in South Africa, and much to a point where I think, I can't remember ngobana baba governisha alcohol bodies and whatnot, they actually took out a statement to say, but we are not going to limit the advertising of alcohol just 2 days ago because the youth is drinking too much and all of that. Whereas certain bodies are calling for a limit on alcohol advertising and all of that. So what I'm trying to say and highlight, kukuba, kuyonke lento esiyenzayo, ngase thina as individuals actually hold each other, not accountable, but by the hand to say, no, my friend.
Yeah.
And then the
judge.
Yeah,
Understand? Because that's the reaction, right?
That is the reality.
If uzawutsho kumko ba ngubani ngela xesha wena wawunqandwa ngubani.
But you know what? I think more than anything about that, because I've been there myself, and I think it was mostly through conversations with my mom. Like, what? And I would feel very judged and feel very bare and feel very naked. However, it's because I was well aware of the fact that it was excessive. It was a problem. I was probably in denial about it. Now, being where I am, or when I started having the conversation with myself, actually, this doesn't really serve me much. I think it was easier to accept those conversations and accept the realities that were brought to the fore through such conversations. And I think it's also very important to acknowledge and accept, the perceptions that people will then have of you based off of the behavior that you exhibited when you were drunk. If abantu bathi you are unreliable, you can't necessarily say, no, unreliable. It's because it's a perception that you put out there.
It's how they relate to you now.
Yeah. So, I think ibalulekile nalonto leyo. And if you are a true friend, you will not be offended when someone is defensive in that way. Etc., because it's the understanding, it's not a personal thing. It's not about you. It's about the internal conflict that they're having with themselves. So continue to show up, even when you feel like the relationship is contentious, because if you are a true friend, what you should be wanting is the betterment of lo mntu lona uthi uyamthanda.
Very true.
Look, for me, gents, utywala, let's be honest, abantu besela when they're in trouble. Clearly there's something that utywala does to relieve something, even if it's a moment, right?
Also, let's not lie. Bumnand, guys. I'm not going to myself. I will be the first to admit
it's an acquired taste.
It is an acquired taste, but bumnand.
Once you've acquired it,
yes,
for sure. The reality is that when people drink for a reason, right?
Yeah.
It's not irrational that people drink.
Yes.
On the other hand, there's this thing of it's been glamorized to your point on the advertisements around utywala. It's a status, nondoni, ufuna usela VSOP, and so there's that signaling, virtuous signaling. Now you're balancing these two, and both of them make sense, right?
Yeah.
But then maybe we have an unhealthy relationship with it.
Yes.
And advertise utywala. I'm not saying anyone makasela utywala, and I said it.
Yes.
There's these two things. So it was attractive because jonga zawukhe ingqondo ezawuphumla nje kanye ngicinga ubana yo ngomso ngizawuthini okanye it's been 18 months ningasebenzi, and then there's this thing ubana at least insele VSOP.
Yeah.
And then how do you then before you get to sobriety, and kudos kuwe, maybe we also need to say, if I'm not wanting to be a sober-minded person for whatever reason, how do I have a healthy relationship?
Yes.
And then maybe towards the journey of sobriety, because I'm not advertising and saying it's a must.
Yeah.
But let's start and say, how do you have a healthy? Is it 6 namhlanje? After 6, then it starts to signal by calling okanye is it I can handle it? Because really, le nto ubana VSOP and sisele zayi-6 ubona sibaliselani mana beziyi-6 mshanam bezipopa bezisiwa
the lendoka, you know, the excitement, you know, the barometer in terms of the level of fun that we had is one, how much we drank, how stupid we got, you know, and it really cannot be that consistently, you know. Indobana, yo, bra, hi chonga, ibhotile zentontoni bezibhapha. And I think from my perspective now, it's really wild. When Sitcho the other time, the city, I think I kind of understand now why you will find a sangoma that is a DJ the next week, umbone ese pulpitin tandas shumaela, and they are radicalized in it, because once you find your thing and you believe in it that much, you really do become radicalized in it. You know, I think I've kind of become radicalized in preaching about responsible drinking, healthy relationships with alcohol, and sobriety as a whole, because I've seen the benefits in my own life. You know, we mentioned something here about redirection yemali, you know, and I look at what we're doing here today, you know, that on its own is a redirection of imali. Being able to do this is because instead of into maboneng or wherever, you know, I'm able to now take la mali leana and say, what can I do? How can I plow back into myself? And I think this year has been a really eye-opening year for me, because it's also just brought about a very big change in terms of how I relate with my career. You know, there's been a bit of a pivot where I've said, actually, I think I want to do things that really fill my spirit more than they fill my pockets. And I don't mind taking out of my own pockets to make that thing happen, because it's a reinvestment into myself. I don't mind taking out of my own pockets to be able to go and interact with the youth. You know, I don't mind missing work and losing out on that money to go and support DBE on whatever they're doing in the Eastern Cape. You know, because it really is something that is filling my spirit. And the thing is, in that entire time, my pockets have never been dry. If anything, I have the most money I have had in a very long time currently.
Look, we can't run away from the fact that, and I'm sorry, and challenge.
That is the point of friendship.
There's an unspoken relationship between not drinking and actually becoming the best or the ultimate version of yourself. The best of me. And we, as land,
yeah,
because simple things as you need to go to work the following morning,
yeah,
you're not going to operate at the optimum level that you need to.
Yes.
Simple things, just simple things. But over and above that, we delay investment in ourselves. Mxolisi. We delay investment in ourselves. I mean, imoto yami yaba ne accident nini?
Which one?
Oh goodness. No accident. It's unfortunate.
We have to the latest one, not when you were going to work.
Not when I was going to work.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's been well over 6 months.
Yes.
And the unfortunate part is that the money was there.
Yes.
To fix it. It wasn't a case of about, oh Namali, you have money,
yeah,
but the priorities are just not right. And you don't see it as a worthy investment. The investor kwizinto that are going to assist me in keeping the wells, you know, replenished and all of that. So I feel somewhat challenged, but I am dizzy. Not yet. But for now, honestly speaking, it's a case of having Lwando to say, but a healthy relationship with substances ezisizithathayo not imama ndilungise whoa not substances just this thing because I don't want people that say
esemthethweni nyani
Defiki please thank you, but it's just all about having a healthy relationship.
And it's not just ritual, yes. And I'm not even talking about is substances with anything.
Yes.
And spend imali. Excessiveness, right? Excessiveness because and I've seen this. I'm not gonna sell you, but he just says,
those people. Those people.
Mangazana umdu imali yasendlini
yeah.
Married men abangaseliyo.
Yeah.
So anything esiyenzayo and whatever substance,
yes,
know, and
whatever vice, whatever vice it is, yeah.
Currently, namhlanje sithatha ngutywala,
yes,
it's 100%, but with anything,
yeah. Oh, but none.
When sibuyele wena Sam kulento yemali bona why ndizawuthi ngicela uniboleke 200 mana namali petrol. Uzawuthi squablishe.
Oh yes, yeah. Kodwa xa usithi ufuna i200 yothengisa ispec ipope,
it's easy.
No, andizokunika. Come through.
Ewe.
It's
always come through.
Kanye sidibane phi. Yabo? And probably ilanto ubana nyani ikhona lando si man yabo, because uzandicima nam lento ndicingayo yabo, whatever it is stresses come through. That's why ke mhlawumbi for me erupi shem ufuna 200 awuzondibuyisela, but ufuna usena is come because kakade uzonceda mna because nam ndifuna uphuma kule moment.
I will also pose a different perspective to that. In that a lot of the relationships we find ourselves in, a lot of the friendships we find ourselves in that are based around things like groove, based around things like utywala, based around things like uthanda, amankara namadio, they are not very substantial. They're not based on a substance of wanting to see you, do better or advance. And sometimes if you are not in a way, if you are doing something that is going to be beneficial to your life outside of Lendo, that we've built our friendship around, that I don't want to impart in that. I don't want to invest in that. Do you think that there is an aspect of that in some friendships? I'm not talking about ours specifically, but just through observation and seeing, and maybe also one of the friendships that I had to let go of 2 years ago.
It's just chatting.
My heart just sank.
I had to give you a real world and real life example.
I'm glad we don't have such dynamics. And I'm glad that we call each other out all the time. And if anything, all of the fallouts that we've all had, alcohol was involved, truly speaking. Yeah. But I'm glad about asna relationship it's always, friend, don't you want to try this and this and this? I'm busy with this and this. How can I support you? So we don't have those dynamics. But there are people, abagwez of friendships as in channel. You find the disparities are actually loud. Kukho lo successful then kukho siskivi sabantu who's then turned into, because you don't awuthathi ntweni.
Yes.
You become the lackey of the group. You become some sort of an ice boy of the group. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. And if I've done that to anybody in Ndicela uxolo, it's not my intention. I'm a good person. I'm a nice person. People can vouch for me. But what I'm trying to say is there are such relationships.
Yes.
But the one thing that I'm grateful for is that we don't have those dynamics. We do not have a case where a person is feeling as if bayapilitlishwa because bona abananto. And the only time that they can have something is if they do certain favors, which is normally go buy into ezithile, and then uzawukwazi ke ngokuba nawe usele nathi because you went to and even at that, no, don't touch that one. Don't touch that one. The small things are there for you. And then, kuvuleki opportunities as team. You don't even think of this person.
Yeah.
You don't
umazi bufunde ntoni na, umazi into bana une experience entweni, or you have seen how industrious they are just through helping you out in some of the things that you are trying to do, you know. Umazi umntana abantu bana xa kukho umcimbi kokwenu, this person is going to take charge and take heed of into ethile, and you see those characteristics. Yet when it comes to having to give them opportunities and suggest them for them, you're not thinking, this person's great with project management. You know?
It's somewhat as if we enjoy having an unpaid, no, not we, people enjoy having unpaid assistance. Yeah. It's unfortunate. And as our levels of uba important in the relationship, honestly speaking, have to do with money.
Yeah.
And if you do have the means, for instance, to elevate to mngani wako, even if you've gotten, let's say, a tender, yintoni uba an actual assistant to you so that naye akwazi ungaxhomekeki kuwe. That's the other thing. Because the more we want people to be xhomekeka onto us, is the more we actually advance that relationship. It's toxic, Lwando. And that only comes with alcohol, unfortunately, and it only comes with alcohol and obviously power play when it comes to money and all such things. But it's mostly rooted in alcoholism.
Yeah, I know, Yazi. The question you pose, for me, it's so complex because I've had a lot of people support me, and I've never been down and out.
Yeah.
But there were points in my life where I sometimes couldn't see the potential in me.
Yes.
Doubted the potential in me, and there would be people abazondi kumbuza. Man, ndingagqibezela degree yakho. Ndiyayenza ntoni, and then prop up.
Yeah.
Just like prop up. But then what complicated again the question is that kube khona abantu obancedayo. Umlami thethe ecaleni bana usiphakamisile. Yes, I know I might not be a nice person, but I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I've always been good. Usiphakamisile, uyapolisha, ntoni. And if uthi ndapolisha and being finished when I'm not a bully, yes, I might not be a nice person, but I'm a good person. Lana kuthiwa cut off, I'll cut her off manyan. And as ndikhula, and probably that's what makes me not a nice person. And go no cut her off. Upuruna. And go in.
Let's not get into that one.
But you know what? The one thing I do want to say before we wrap up this conversation is that I really do appreciate your friendship. I said, if you've been following me on social media for a while, you've been seeing that leading up to the release of this platform is that I've spoken out quite a bit about certain things in my life and the network that I have. You know, these gentlemen are a part of it. And I appreciate the fact that I can call you guys at any moment and, you know, you will be there. I just the other week went really on the M2 and I did not panic at all because I knew who I could call. I called Lwando, he came through and, you know, really ran with it. I appreciate you, Mxolisi, that when I say I've got this issue, I don't need to give you any lendokas on how to deal with it. You take it, you make it your own, and you run with it. And that for me really and truly shows that even though we are far from home, even though we are here building whatever that we have, we are not building in silos. That we have this network, that we have this community, that we have family in these places. And I really do appreciate that. And no matter where I go, you know, even if Diana Pinda decide no from here, or I'm going to go and be a monk and be in a monastery.
You will tithe.
That you, that you will continue to grow around me and not, not try to change me in any way, but really just form around me in whichever way that I need and I require. And I promise to continue to do the same around you guys as well. Before Sival, we are 3 groupmans sitting here. And a lot of the time, the issues that we have in this country, though exacerbated by things like substances, are generally perpetrated. But the perpetrators are gents. And I want you now, each of you to your camera, to look into it and man. We have issues like GBV, we have issues like road accident deaths. We have, so many issues that we are seeing within this country, and of course exacerbated by Ywala, but perpetrators zethu are generally males. So ndicela uthele namagrotman, uxelele amagrotman to do better.
I can start. Fortunately for me, I'm a Grootman and Waziyo. From Mdantsane to here in Joburg are just a special breed. And I want to say, keep it up. Bakulua, Maninawa, keep it up. You guys are not the best there is, but I know Bananiazama, Ayafunda Machita, Sencho, even, and for me, a reference point, I'm Tanzania, where I'm from. I know area, I'm a Grootman akona, Inwana zakona, Ziyazama, Ziyapanda. Keep it up, afethu Kotazanani, Mfundo phambi.
I think for me, we look at the recent news that have been circulating with teachers being fingered.
JS Kenjan,
yes,
for instance, and other schools within the Eastern Cape province specifically.
Many schools, and that's not just it. That's a sample of many. The responsibility that we have been given as males is mostly to provide and to lead and to protect. We are, but we are not coming to a point of actually realizing that the leadership of this country, and I'm not saying that women are inferior in any way. I'm talking to the gents specifically. The leadership of this country is rested on our shoulders. And if we are going to be the very same people that continue to subject the people of this country, be it women, be it any minority groups, such as your LGBTQ groups and whatnot, we are then not abantu that we can trust to say, ba leadership my pume. Because even with these grinder stories, with these tender stories that we see happening out there, it's unfortunate that see tikwakona as men who are perpetrators. And perhaps maybe the call to change is not even going to say, ba it's going to do much, but uba in the circles that we all hold, let's keep each other accountable. And to say, Ndobana, I'm not going to sit on anything that my friend has done, which I know for sure, Ndobana, ipule innocence yomnye umntu. Ndakuthatha ndikurhoqa mna ndikuse police station. Same way that I'm expecting uba nani nenze the very same thing kwalapha kum. It goes to the family units. It goes to the friendship units that we built. The workplace, the work environment. EHR is there for certain grievances. Let us speak out. Let us report such cases. And as victims, trust and believe me, you can look me up. My name is Mxolisi Makhubu. You can send me a DM and say that you've got this and this and this issue. I will come and I will sort it out anonymously so, and your name will not even be in the public domain. But what I'm trying to say is that there are certain instances where some things are a bit difficult to maintain, a bit difficult to report. Sorry, that's what I meant. Come to us, let us assist you. Samora khona, Lwando khona, ndikhona nam. We are all here and we are all a community, internet community. So let us speak out as victims and not stay ngalento ilapa, because it eats from you and it ends you. But as cheaters, please guys, let's not be those people anymore. It's 2025. And you look at other countries, they are performing well, they are peaking, they are doing all sorts of amazing things. Thina sibanjezelwe yilento qha yoba thina sifuna usoloko siphakamisa isandla, sifuna usoloko sivusa induku ezithile, sifuna uthini. Why umbulalela ntoni umntana abantu xa engafuna ukunika into ethile? Why ungayike kwezi ndawo kufunyanwa kuzo ezicheap kakuba ezo zinto xa caba ke edge ngakwe? Hayi kaloku ndingumuntu oyi-activist. But elivalayo lithi, let us be responsible men, because only us, and it is only through us that we can change the discourse of this country.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
It's been an absolute pleasure getting your insights. And I don't want to take it lightly that you guys have shown up here. You know, I'm pouring my heart and my soul into this thing. And I've been disappointed by many people in the road leading up to here. And I think I've kept a very strong face, you know. But when I called and I said, hey, I want to do this thing, I need your support, I need your help, I didn't even need to go far in terms of explaining. You guys were like, we are there. So I appreciate that and thank you so much. And to you watching right now, thank you so much for the support. We really do appreciate it. Please continue to make sure that this platform grows. I think that there are a lot of conversations that we're still going to have that are going to be very impactful, that are going to help a lot of people. And be sure to, what other things is YouTube?
Like,
subscribe. And you don't call it TV.
Follow, like,
be sure to do all of those things. You know, hit that subscribe button, share it as well. Yeah, and let's make sure that we are able to continue to have these very important conversations. Follow us on all of our social media platforms as well. If you search for @TheBestOfMe or @TheBestOfMePod across the board, you should be able to find us. Or alternatively, search for me @Samora_Mangesi across the board. And there will always be a link that will either direct you to other social media platforms or to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. We'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.
I know where I've come from, and I know where I'm going, so I keep pushing forward, not to be better than anyone else, but to be better than I was.